In this lesson, you're going to learn about freeze frames or freeze panes, and it's a feature which is in Excel to help you sort data out or view a large amount of data at once. So let's say, for example, let's open a worksheet employees, and let's see, for example, I want to be able to view the information of Mrs. Wendy Parker, and I want to see her date of birth without me being able to scroll to the end of without me using this scroll icons over here at the bottom of the Excel workbook. Okay, so what I can simply do, I can freeze Mrs. Parker's information so that it can always be visible even if I'm scrolling across, so I can see her date of birth, which is on column N. I can also see her salary, I can see her sex, and I can see her marital status, while her name is clearly frozen on the left hand side of my Excel workbook. Okay, and let's say, for example, also I want to scroll downwards, but I always want to know what information I'm scrolling down, I'm seeing while I'm scrolling downwards. Let's say, for example, if I go to Carol Minot, okay, let's say I go to column H and I see the word task. I don't know task is what if I scroll downwards, because right now I know task is a town or a city. Let's say if I were to scroll down up to task, I wouldn't be able to know if task is a town or city, or it's a name or an address. The only way I would be able to know if task is a town or a city if it is possible for me to be able to view the information on row 1 as fixed. So what I want to achieve with this lesson is I want to see this information of the name frozen, and also want to the information of each individual, the name, the address, the date of birth, frozen. Even if I scroll downwards, I'll be able to see them, and also want the names to be frozen on the left hand side, so if I scroll to the right hand side to get more information about that particular person, I might know who I'm dealing with. So the only way I can get to do that is scroll to the information where I want to freeze the information. I want to be able to see column A, B, C, D, which contains the first name, which contains the ID number of the person, first the title, first name, and the surname. Okay, so those are the information that I need. So I want all of this information preserved to the left hand side, and I also want this information row 1 preserved, so they are always visible whether I'm scrolling downwards or I'm scrolling from the left to the right hand side. So because if you highlight row A to D, you can clearly see that the selection stops at house, and if I select column, if I select row A, row 1, I can clearly see that the information stops at house, but the information veil is the one which is the central place, is the common point at which I can separate both the first row and the selected columns to my left. So if I've selected column E2 as the common point where I'm going to freeze the selections from the top and to the left, I simply need to go to the Insert tab. I need to go to the View tab. Then once I'm there, I need to select Freeze Prints, then select the first option. And because I've done that one, I've selected the first option of freeze prints, it now becomes unfreeze prints. Okay, so let me do that once more. Column E2 is the common point at which I want to separate the first row, and that is the common place which I want to separate the left hand side columns. So I'm going to go to the View tab, then select Freeze, then Freeze Prints. If you read the information, it says keep rows and columns visible where the rest of the worksheet scrolls based on current selection, and the current selection is cell E2. So I'm going to do that. So you can clearly see that we have a division within the Excel workbook. So if I scroll to the right hand side, you can clearly see that column A, B, C, and D remain constant and they are not moving. So I can know Mrs. Wendy Parker is in the clerical department, she's married, and what is her salary and date of birth, without me going backwards using these left or right arrows to scroll for her name to find out who I'm viewing the information from. And another thing, if I want to find out what kind of information is displayed on the top part, if I'm scrolling maybe to row 48, I can clearly see that this information is an email, this information is a date of birth, this information is a salary, which means the top first row has been frozen. So this is the use of using freeze planes whenever you want to display data consistently within your Excel workbook one if you're scrolling large amounts of large information. Okay, so let's go to freeze planes, then unfreeze the planes. Okay, we have gone back to our default selection. So let's say I just want to freeze the first row only. I can go there, click on view, freeze planes, then freeze the top row only. So if I scroll downwards, the left hand section is not going to be frozen, it's just the top row, which is row 1, which is going to be frozen even if I scroll downwards. And you can clearly see as I scroll downwards, row 1 is not moving and is consistent up to the last information, which is row 107. So I can click on freeze planes, then unfreeze planes to deselect it. Then if I want to freeze on the first column, what I simply need to do is click on freeze first column. And if I scroll to row N, if I go to column N, then I scroll to the right hand section, you can clearly see that column A is not moving and it's constant and it has been frozen. And that is how you apply the freeze panes option within Microsoft Excel to view your data, your large volume of data all at once without losing the information necessary. I'll see you in the next lesson.